What is up, guys? Half Slab Bacon back with another Snapshot update. So guys, this should be the last Snapshot we see until all the new features for 1.11 are released at Minecon. So let's just have a look. Right now, we are in last week's Snapshot. So let's discuss the changes. First of all, it's going to be a little laggy, because all these guys, if you remember, last week I brought up the new game rule, max entity cramming, which is going to deal with killing off a bunch of these guys, unfortunately. So we will load the current week snapshot and see what happens to them in a second. But first, I'd just like you guys all to say hi to our buddy Steve that we can see is holding zombie flesh. Hi, Steve. And let's drop some guardians into some lava here and watch them die. Apparently we'll watch them get out too. I guess I should have closed the whole thing off. Oh well. Die, guys. Would you just die already? Or maybe not spawned as many in. But as we can see, we killed them with fire and they drop raw fish. That's right, raw fish. Right there. Okay, so outside of these few things, I got one other thing to show you. Alright, still in last week's snapshot, and as we can see, this is an old bug, almost as old as squid themselves, where they will spawn in lava. As you can see, we are now in this week's snapshot, 16W38A, and squid are no longer spawning in lava. Guess I'm glad I use water for my farm. Alright, let's load up our test world and see what happens to all these... Oh! Sounds like they're all dying, and we can see the hostile mob population was greatly reduced. Our chickens, definitely a bunch of them died off there. And how'd you get out? It does not appear, thankfully, to have affected our overpopulated beginners mob farms, thankfully. There still seems to be quite a bit, so it does appear as if they have to be not only touching, but probably within a 1 block by 1 block area. Now, the default is set at 24. So when we look here, for example, well, doesn't look like it's working that accurately because I'm measuring about 28 entities in there. So, if you want the old rules, you're going to want to go ahead and change that by typing in and maybe go to an area before you update that you're not going to load any of your farms that rely on the old school cramming, such as your chicken farm. And you're going to want to type in max entity cramming. Now, I'm not sure exactly, I believe it's probably a 0 after we'll disable it. Yes, see? Or, and this is a great option if you like to AFK and crash your game occasionally, maybe set it to, say, a number where your computer kind of lowers its frames but doesn't crash out, like say 250 or 500, depending on whatever your system can in fact handle. So the good news is it does appear Jeb has coded this, that, you know, our traditional sheep, chicken, cow farms, because as we can see, I really kind of overdid it with these. As a matter of fact, I overdid it so much. Let's just kill them before the next snapshot, so we don't have this frame rate lag. Bye, guys. Oh, poor guys. There you go. Bye, guys. Oh, poor guys. Chickens. Bye, chickens. All right. And I guess we should probably get this out of the way here, and maybe we'll throw out our raw fish, and we'll kill off some more guardians, to see the change. Oh, and look, There's Steve. Hi, Steve. As you can see, Steve was equipped with an elytra, and it is now possible to actually see when a mob picks up your elytra when you die with it. So that's a very good change indeed. Very good change indeed. Now let's see what happens to our poor guardians. Haha! Die, suckers! Die! Wow, they're taking a long time. Well, while they're doing that, let's just go like this. There, killed them all off. Then we can experiment. So, we can now see that guardians drop cooked fish when killed by fire. So this is an important change for any of you that have guardian farms set up. You're no longer going to get raw fish, so you're back to fishing to catch your cats with. Sorry, guys. Now, if we take our blazes here, and we just kind of spam, well, I guess we have to change the rule back. Let's change it to, say, 3. And let's see what happens if we just kind of spam in here. If I can get the hitbox. Oh! Okay, well, there's a lot more than 3 in there, so it does appear that the game rule's not working quite properly. But it is a snapshot, and the important thing to remember is whatever limit is set when it is working properly, it will kill anything above that level in a 1x1 space. So technically, all these guys should have died just now. However, it does appear that the game is not working properly. Well, the new code is not working properly. However, guys, like I said, I'm going to recommend a rule of like 250 or 0. If you're playing on a laptop, maybe a rule of 150 would probably keep your game from crashing if you AFK at your mob farms a little bit too long. So that's pretty much it for this week's bug fix, guys. Other few small things such as, you know, fixing the few bugs we still had from 1.9 with the shields, and a couple other small details, but those are the major changes. And this max entity cramming is definitely the big one. When they do get this worked out, I wish they would set it to default in single player, but it is, at least at the time of this filming, a default of 24. So when you load your snapshot, or you happen to load the stable version, you're maybe going to want to go somewhere in your world, in your single player world, where you don't have your, say, chicken farm with 50 chickens in it, and go ahead and load that game rule up and change it from the default of 24 to either 0 to disable it, or a more reasonable number like 150 or 250 or 500 or whatever, so that your mob farms still work. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Smash that like if you enjoyed, to help others like yourself find that stuff, enjoy the content, find the channel, and if you're new, you haven't already, hit subscribe for more videos. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!